this is my main dulcimer. It is a Bill Rich, Pawpaw's Dulcimers. There's a poem in there for Maureen. It was originally built for Maureen Sellers. Bought it off of her used. And as you can see, it's beautiful koa. Has the Graflex or possum bottom on that one as well. It did not originally come with electronics. I retrofitted that. I don't use all 4 strings, I only use 3. So I bought a LR Bags bridge pickup. Got it through Folkcraft Instruments, folkcraft.com. And I actually ordered the 1.5 inch bridge. As you can see, I got the 1 3/8 inch bridge. I needed it to be electric that weekend. I couldn't afford to wait another few days. And so I had already planned that what I was going to do was cut my bridge a little tighter here. So as you can see, it kind of is a little shorter there. But what I did, I decided to go ahead and cut it just a little. I was already going to cut it in a little bit because I like to do some more guitar style playing. Well, I've nicked myself there somehow. So I wanted these 2 strings a little closer together. So I kind of customized how I cut that so that I could plug that in. And then I run it just like it normally would down here because these fingers needed the room to be able to get on there. So that's kind of how I run that. I like to tune. It is in open D right now, so DAD, standard dulcimer tuning. I do prefer to run it as open C, like CGC. I feel like I can get to G easier, or I mean F easier, and then most things are in C as they are. But many times doing worship, I'll have to tune out. I'll have to go up to D to get into G. So I actually like playing in the key of G and F out of those tunings very much so. So I'll explain that here in a minute. But so I like a nice rich tone. As you can hear, the acoustic tone is great on this dulcimer. So it's but what I did is I went from the standard light strings, and I actually use a 14 here, an 18 here, and a 28 here. So I can get a nice, that would sound bad. So I get a nice rich sound across there. Again, I just did a video about my dulcimer picks and things that I like to use. So I actually use a little, this is a guitar trick we used to put on our pedal boards and have all of our little, incidentals, the small things. Put some Velcro in there, stick it on your pedal board, so it's always with you. Don't have a pedal board anymore. I actually use a Helix, which I'll show you. I'll talk about all of these things here in just a moment, what I've got down there. But I actually found out the new Walworth capo that I got for Christmas for my kids actually fits inside of the Altoids case. So it's a perfect, it's kismet, if you will. And again, I've got all these different kind of picks, but what I've been gravitating towards is this Fender Mojo grip. I really like that one. It works really well for me. So I tend to do that. And then you'll notice I don't have it in here yet, but so I use my iPad for my music, and then I have a pedal that takes care of switching the pages for me while I'm playing. Down here at the bottom, well, right there, I'll do a more in-depth review of that. That's a Ferguson 2x4 electric dulcimer that I had a 0.5 fret added to it as well. It's okay. The preamps are all right in it. I have a lot to say about that particular item that I got, but I'll go over that at another time. I had to redo some fret stuff on it, so it's playable now. It's playable. Down here I have, now I can actually just use this. It's perfectly capable of being the only thing I use. It is battery powered, but I have a power supply for it. but it has about 10 hours worth of battery life on it, or more. And it has a little volume pedal. And it's preset, it has a looper and a drum machine in it, which both sound really, really good. I'm working on trying to get that a little better, like get better at playing that, so that I can use this when I go out and do some busking or something. So yeah, this could be the only thing that I use. I wouldn't have to have anything else. But this is my worship setup. This is what I'm going to be doing on Sunday. And so I'll actually do another video. I'll just set up my phone and record, do another time lapse of me setting up for Sunday morning, so you can kind of see what all I go through and how that works, and then kind of a little bit of the sound check of being on stage. I will probably record audio with a different device though than with my phone. So it won't be my phone audio, it will actually be a Zoom, another Zoom product, which I'll talk about in a later video. But yeah, so I normally can just use this. I have a basic setting straight out of the box on this, the AG-D28. So it's like an acoustic guitar, and the reason why I use this with this other setup, I don't have to, I could bypass that altogether and not hook it up, but I really, really love the impulse response that's in this, and it makes the Dulcimer sound bigger and fuller for worship guitar. This was about $130, I think. I got it on sale. I think it normally runs about $150. If you've got $150, buy this. It makes sense. You can run out stereo as well as mono, and it is compact, and it sounds great, and it will be kind of your direct box, really. Like, this is kind of like your direct box, so you wouldn't have to do that. But so I run into that. I run out of there into my Helix. I have a Helix LT. I've used this for worship for a long time, and I've got a bunch of different settings in here, some of which when I start doing lap steel will probably work really well for that. I had a lot of rock settings and a lot of worship electric guitar settings. But what I did is I adapted a setting that I had for worship acoustic. I adapted that, made some changes, and now I have the Dulcimer worship. So WT, I can't remember what the T stands for. I made it up on the spot. But so I have this actually set up in stomp box mode. So what I've got here, let me just get in here and show you the screen. Hopefully we can, let me try to kill that light. And it's not letting me kill the light. So let me get to an angle where you can see it. So I've got a plate reverb, I've got a distortion pedal on there, a phase shifter, and a 70s style chorus. I normally just have, when I'm going to play, I'll just click that one on. That one's always on for worship. The other ones are flavor things that I'll add sometimes. And then down there on the bottom, those are my kind of, I rotate in and out. So I've got the quarter delay, I've got the dotted eighth delay, and I've got the ambient swell type reverb, and then I've got the big verb, which is a modulated reverb thing that I'll do. And I'll go through a whole sound test on all these here as well, so you can hear all of those. I'll get it all set up so you can see the board and then hear what I'll be playing. But I'll be playing through this Dulcimer, and then I'll just swing you around here. As you see, I set up for streaming. There's my Star Wars collection. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So over here is the mixer that I use. I don't expect anyone to have one of these at home. This is something that I'm an artist too, so I have my drawing table up there and my tablet over there. So as you can see, I'm set up for all kinds of stuff in here. This little tiny office gets a lot of use. A little refrigerator, and there's where the little puppy hangs out during the day while I'm working. So right here is the Behringer XR18. I bought this for my church before a while ago, and it works amazing. We actually you can you control the stuff through your phone or an iPad. I like it a lot. But what's really cool is you can also use this as an interface to the USB. Right now I don't have it plugged in because I'm using another interface, But when we record, when I show you the sound samples later, what you'll be hearing is a direct output and through this. So you'll actually be hearing the sound being recorded for the video through this right here. And then, so it's got 18 channels. My left and right are right here off of my Helix. So my Helix is my direct box as well. And as you can see, here's some outputs. These are auxiliary outs. Those are monitor mixes. The thing I just showed you a little bit ago, this is the X5, transmitter for the personal air monitors, the PM. And so I just plug that into my channel over there, so I can control my own monitor mix when I play live using this setup. But I also use it when I'm at home practicing, so that's what I do. And then so I'll run through all of that, and I'll once I get this all set up and going, I will give you a rundown of the sounds that I use for worship guitar and how I'm not worship guitar, worship dulcimer. 30-year guitarist makes it kind of difficult to just change gears like that. But this is my Sunday morning setup at home. This is because I got to practice the set list, and so I'll go through some of those things and just show you what I do. One thing I haven't talked about is this stand. I will do a more in-depth review of this stand, but this has been a godsend. I was going to find some other ways so I could stand up and play, and I wasn't confident in what they were, and I found this. Again, I'm a big fan of the Bing Futch stuff, everything he does. I'm a big fan of that guy. He's kind of been a godsend for a new dulcimer player like myself. He did a review on this, and the price was a little high, but I thought it was worth it, just to make sure that it was something that was built and dedicated for this. I will be buying a second one of these stands for my other dulcimer. I don't know if I'll buy one for the stick or not, but at some point I will probably wind up using the stick as an alternate tuning when playing gigs and things like that, or if I want to go and use that in connection with the Zoom for a quick gig out. It'd be, it's a piece of cake to do that. I added heavier strings on that one as well. I'll go through the whole thing of what I do with that. But this, I'm using Diodario strings. I almost forgot to mention I use Diodario strings. They are ball end because they don't make the guitar strings I want to put on this in a loop. So I hooked that out. See if you can see that. Focus in on there. I loop it and then hook it on that. The other dulcimer has a thinner post, and so that little loop just slides right over it, but this one does not, so I do that. But yeah, I had to cut down this bridge myself and install all the electronics. And so yeah, I just had to drill a hole through the top, bring that through. I had to take out the old peg, and I used a drill bit to make that hole larger, and then I soldered that in and put it in. And this is just a passive piezo pickup, but as you'll hear, this thing sounds amazing. It's an amazing sounding instrument, and it every week impresses people that I'm up there playing. All right, I'll be back in just a moment. All right, so this is the worship time dulcimer. Okay, as you can see down here is the Helix. I just went over what those effects were that I was using. As you can see, what I have right now on there is the plate reverb, and then I normally put on the quarter delay all the time, and I tap it in like this. All right. So let me get a song I'm familiar with up here. We'll do maybe Agnes Day. hear, it's very subtle delays, just kind of a full sound. This would be if I'm playing some kind of a rhythm or something. I'm also doing my chords a little different. I'll do a whole other video on how I form chords to really blend into a worship setting. This is mostly just for kind of the effect and what I'm running through. So as I palm mute that, so I do a lot of technique with my right hand. As you can hear that slap delay, like that. That's what I call popcorn, and so I like to. I'm just gonna turn this up just a scotch. So what I like to do there is I actually like to get a nice dotted eighth on top of the quarter delay, so that I can get a thing like this. I could get, kind of fill a spot in there with that. That's what I call popcorn. Then I like to kind of build things up a little bit. And here's a nice big verb. I find that I get a lot of use with this kind of setting. Nice big modulated reverb in there. So as you can hear, it goes like that. Cool thing about the Dulcimer is it fits the exact opposite end of the sonic spectrum of the bass. So if the bass is really locked in and I'm really locked in, it really gives a nice full sound. Piano and acoustic normally cover a lot of that mid-range. This Sunday we've got bass, we've got I think a couple guitars, piano, and then the vocals and stuff, and percussion. So I will really work on filling out the ethereal stuff. So what I will wind up doing most is adding in this thing here that I call the ambient swell. Now I use the ambient swell a lot with the volume pedal. The volume pedal that I'm using is the Ernie Ball Jr. It is almost a necessity for worship, like modern worship stuff. So as you can hear, as I play that, there's this other sound that's coming up in the background. So I've got this nice delay, but I've also got this kind of atmospheric thing that's happening back there. And so I'll do things like and you're going to hear my mic actually pick up the acoustic sound in the room, and I wanted to do that on purpose so that you can actually hear when I hit that note. So I strum it and then swell in. Right? And now I'm going to do it where I cut the mic out for a moment as I edit this so that you can hear just the swell. So as you hear that, I can get a lot of really cool feeling in that, and then when I start to, really combine a lot of the techniques. Some motion detected at the back door. And so yeah, then I'll start to, I'll move that stuff down, and maybe I'll just work with this for a while. And then I can come in with, so say we're in the key of the F, I'll probably do this is good for, if I turn that big verb off and I'm just back down to this, say we've got a little faster tune, anyway, that's what you get. That's the worship style stuff, and as I didn't even put in the phase or the chorus, so that gives me more of a so you hear it gives more of a different sound in there. I do have the distortion if I need a so it gives me like a nice classic sound, almost organy, especially when I start adding in some of the other stuff there. I can kind of get more of an messing around, but that is how you would kind of make a dulcimer sound like a worship instrument, for modern worship. Something a little more less traditional. It's also in the technique of kind of how you play it. I came from electric guitar, moved it into, so I think pretty much everything as a electric guitar, how I would play it on an acoustic, and then I'm like, how would I play what I would play on an acoustic on a 3-string dulcimer? And that's how I do that. And a lot of it kind of takes place pretty quickly. Some of it takes a little more work to make happen, and that's why I have to work on all these songs before we go in on a Sunday and worship in front of a group of people, because I don't want to be a distraction. But that's how I do it. That's my setup. String gauges, all of this, So this is quite expensive if you add it all together. The dulcimer by itself, the upgrade that I made to it. The strings are cheap, obviously, but you've got to get used to playing on something a little heavier. The Helix, you can buy these used for maybe $1,000, a little less. Maybe you can get them for $750, $800 if you can find one used. This is about $100 for the volume pedal, and then I also am using the Zoom, which is about $150. The stand is $170, $180. So as you start adding it all up, it all gets rather expensive. Even the capo that I'm using is like $50, right? So it's quite a financial investment to do this, but you can work your way up. Now, if I cut all of this off, let me just show what I do. I actually have another setting on this guy right here. So I've actually got two. This is like a default, their first default that I saved on Bank 50, and then I have this kind of like delay verb that I created that I put on Bank 51. And so here are the sounds there. So if this is me just using these. Let me turn that off. So that is just the dry tone coming from the Zoom A1X4. so that's the dry sound. And then this is more of kind of that big verb sound that I did before. So sounds so pretty. So you could do everything with just that, but you have to save banks and then move the banks, and it's an abrupt change. And what I like to do is I like to add the layers of effects as I go, because I may want to make one part of the song in that arrangement, I may want to make one of it more ethereal and another part more traditional sounding dulcimer, and then another maybe more of that popcorn sound that I like to do. And so those are really the things that I like on this. And this kind of serves as like a pedal board. So you could essentially do that, buy 2 delay pedals, buy a couple reverb pedals, and build your own worship board without buying a Helix. It's about the same amount of money, and Helix updates things all the time, adds new stuff, and they keep improving the sound. So I always just use that. I used to have 2 pedal boards and 2 amps and all that, and I now just run this for everything. I run everything through it. So that is my worship setting, my worship setup. Hopefully this has been informative. I'm going to try to edit it down to where it's not crazy long and boring, but I did want to show off kind of this sound. I've yet to plug my new dulcimer in to this setup, so I'm getting ready to try that out, and I'll probably go ahead and record that too, so that you guys have a just a sample of what it sounds like with that one plugged in, and because it has a different kind of electronics in it than what this guy does. So it is a different kind of pickup system, similar but different. Alright, guys, have a good day. Remember, try to leave that wood pile a little bit higher than you found it, and play every day like it's your last. You never know when the joy of music might be ripped away from you. So please enjoy it, and hopefully if you're new to the dulcimer, or if you're just wanting to add something new to your repertoire, maybe you've already got a lot of this stuff, consider looking into one of these dulcimers. And they're pretty easy to learn, pretty easy to transpose all the stuff that you're already doing. So grab one of these and play along, guys. See you.